A few days ago, Martina caught some really nice sharks here at the 80s spot. And of course, I had to test that out too. And while I'm now testing things out and trying different baits, I'm noticing there are a lot of spotted wolffish coming in here. Yeah, and since so many spotted wolffish came in here, and I'd only been testing with one single bait the whole time, I obviously had to now try the same type of bait, but in one size larger. Cast it out, and now I'm curious what's coming in, like whether the wolffish will keep coming in now. We'll take a look at the cache in a moment. I had to fight through this spot a little at first, but by now I think I've got a pretty good sense of where the more exciting fish are biting. Let's have a look. Yeah, we had that one the whole time. So, straight back out. We definitely don't want that one. So I'm here at the 80s on the 80s sandbank, and my plan was kind of just to drift back and forth here. You drift anyway with the current every 6 hours back and forth. And the best position, or at least where I started, was down here. But the best spot seems to actually be right around this area. Look, the message just popped up. My happy hour is over. So that was exactly 1 hour at this spot. And yeah, like I said, the best fish all came from this area. So around the 200 mark here in this zone, that's easy to remember. All right, let's drop back down again. Usually I'm fishing here at 77 or 78 meters deep, and then it usually only takes a few jigging movements. And I gave it a lot more time this time between the jigging. Not like usual, where I just jig nonstop over and over, hitting the button again and again. No, I kept it looser. Let the bait take its time, really take its time, to sink all the way down to the bottom, and then gently jig now and then. And there's the next bite already. So now I'm really curious what bites on this new bait. I just now, before starting the recording, I just swapped the bait, same color though, just a little bigger. Now I'm wondering, is this spot giving me similar fish again? So is it the color that's triggering them right now, or just the bait itself? Okay, yeah, we'll take that one too. A 1 kilo squid is pretty random, but hey, we'll take it. Let's cast back out real quick. You might have noticed already, all the baits are in white right now, but that wasn't the bait I started with. Let's take a look at the catch. So this is how it looks right now. Started here at the spot, and the very first thing was the safe. Don't really want that one. Then came Cusk, Cusk, Cusk. Also not what you want. Unless one pops in at 17 kilograms, then maybe it's not that bad. And then it really got going. The more the current pushed me into that area I just showed you, the more interesting the fish got. Then came the first striped wolffish, even got a small halibut during the sinking phase, which is rare. Then a poor beagle down lower, a wreckfish. And then suddenly, spotted wolffish, spotted wolffish, spotted wolf. So it just kept being the spotted wolffish. And now the big question is, can we trick another one into biting? The spotted wolffish, 80 meters deep. So let's try setting the depth to about 78 meters. And then jig slowly again. If you're not using an electric reel here, you only have the 5-meter indicator. So 78 meters. Well, how do you set that exactly? You can't really, obviously. But what you can do is lift your rod tip all the way up, and you'll see down here, if you just let it hang, there's no indicator. That means no movement near the bottom. So when you cast out, you let it sink all the way to the ground until nothing moves anymore. Now it says movement near bottom. That's when you close it and then pull up slowly with the rod tip in the air and gently lift it. Now it says moving away from bottom. So you drop the rod again, and now you've got the ideal height. Instantly, you're back at movement near bottom, and that's where you can jig. So you sometimes drift out of it a little, but then back in with that jigging motion, right in that sweet zone between movement near the bottom or just above it, and that triggers them really well. You can even let it hang for a while. By the way, that's also the perfect height if you're using the in-lead rig with the paternoster. Just leave everything hanging, and you're right at the correct height. So just lift the rod first, lower it slowly, and boom, you're at the right height. and you can jig in that area perfectly, even without needing a depth indicator. You could theoretically fish here with a totally different line, with no line marker, no depth gauge at all. Yeah, now I'm drifting again, heading into the direction I don't want to go. So with the next fish, I'll head back up into the area. That's something you've got to do from time to time. When you find an area where specific fish keep biting, well, then you just have to work against the current. Drive back to the area every now and then. The current changes, like I said, every 6 hours, at 6 a.m., at noon, 6 p.m., and midnight. There's also a separate video about that here on the channel. Check it out if you're interested in how and where to place yourself to use the drift properly. So, let's get this fish in real quick and straight back to that position. We've got about an hour left, then the drift changes direction again. So, drive back up, try to land exactly there. And I think I'm pretty much right back in that area. So here in this zone, around the 200 mark, 625 by 200 roughly, I think that's looking pretty good. The ground is rocky, that's a good sign too. And we can already see loads of big echo marks. So let's test that again, and right away, it starts again. Not bad, but still, nothing really big yet. Yeah, now I'll have to see again whether it's really the bait. So I'm going to switch back now and test the first bait again. I mean, we don't want these small ones here. Although a whiting isn't bad in terms of price, and basically we're now imitating this small whiting, this white fish. That's what we've got on as bait, and we're casting that out now as an attractant, so to speak. It was always the salty fish 204, the white salty fish, that worked. On the porbeagle, on the wreckfish, and also on the spotted wolffish. That worked really well. So the whole cache here is salty fish 204. And now we've got to keep testing. And now the big question, is this salty fish series worth it? Like I said, I'll keep testing it a bit here, but I'll definitely bring back the salty fish and just try it again. See if it maybe works even better than the natural squid. The natural squid is 23 centimeters long. The salty fish 204, only 20 centimeters. So just a bit smaller. That's why I was wondering if maybe using the squid in the same color, and I mean it's a similar shape too, if that could catch bigger fish in the same spot. And there's the next little one, another wolffish, at least. Yeah, I'll stay in the area a bit longer, keep testing things out. In the meantime, let's check if the first hour here was already worth it. So first hour at this spot, that was up to about here. Yeah, it should have been up to here. These were the fish just now, and we're still in the first hour, despite everything. And despite all the cusk here, we still made it to 1,100 silver in just 1 hour. Altogether, I've been here 1 hour and 13 minutes at the spot. Yeah, well, 1,300. So they're not bringing in that much yet, of course, but you can already see just these spotted wolffish alone are really bringing in good silver. On top of that, of course, the wreckfish at 22 kilos, also totally worth it. But also here, whiting, not bad at all. And now comes the big question. Is it worth hoping for a big one? Of course, I want the spotted wolffish as a trophy someday. That definitely has to happen at some point. And if I have the chance to catch one here in this area, then of course, I'll just keep trying. But even just silver-wise, it's really not bad so far. So keep going, test. And now the big question is, do you go back to hunting for the trophy? Maybe even try using bigger bait again? Or do you just try to catch the medium-sized spotted wolffish with the 200 salty fish here, just to make some decent cash? Because that sure doesn't hurt, especially during happy hour. So get going on the 80s here. Thanks again to Martina for sharing this area. Like I said, for me, the most important area up here, along this line. And I'm heading right back again, just that short stretch, so that I'm always drifting back and forth in this same area. Really, just this one very tight little spot here. If it helped you, leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, that helps me a lot. And we'll see each other in the next video. Until then, tight lines.